The following video is rated M for mature audiences, as it may contain mature themes.
Today on Teachers, we look at Sarah, a young 16-year-old high school student who has become disengaged in class with the results suffering as a result of bullying and her low socioeconomic status. The effects of this cause loneliness and alienation. We will be discussing the effects of these risk factors and finding solutions to get her back on track. Let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah is a female student, age 16, who is currently undertaking Term 1 of Year 10 in a co-ed school in Western Sydney. Before Sarah reached Year 10, she lived with both of her parents in a wealthy suburb in Western Sydney. She was considered to be very friendly and outgoing, while spending most of her free time with the company of her friends and family. Sarah was very goal-orientated and dedicated to her academic and sporting aspirations, as she desired to pursue the occupation of physiotherapy once she completed school. She was very athletic and actively participated in PDHPE sporting practicals and activities. Additionally, Sarah represented the school in soccer and also participated in the sport outside school hours. Sarah performed well in almost all of her subjects, but excelled in maths, science and PDHPE. Sarah had a positive relationship with her science teacher and wanted to choose physics for her HSC and aspire for high ATAR results. Before Year 10 commenced, Sarah was in a long-term relationship with her boyfriend. They could often be spotted within the school premises, showing regular affection towards each other. Additionally, Sarah had a large social network of friends and was considered to be in the popular group at school.
Sarah's family has hit some hard times of late. Her home life has become dysfunctional of late due to her parents fighting over financial concerns.
What are we going to do about the bills?
I don't want to talk about it right now.
Well, when are we going to talk about it?
Look, I don't want to talk about it right now.
But we do need to talk about it.
Look, we're not talking about it while Sarah's in the car.
Sarah has moved to a low SES area and no longer invites her friends over. At school, Sarah is starting to stand out. She is one of the few without access to a laptop and other educational supplies.
Sarah, why don't you have your laptop? Every lesson, not here. Where's your school supplies, your book?
In conjunction with this, Sarah is usually seen at lunchtime without any food. This is a byproduct of her financial situation.
Sarah's social life has taken a significant hit as well. Her relationship has fallen apart. Her friend group has turned against her, and she has now become outcast from her popular friend group. Sarah used to love PE, especially the practicals. However, Sarah usually spends her time trying to skip class in PE.
The PE uniform? That's 3 weeks in a row.
When she does attend, her old group of friends are found to be gossiping about her and making snide remarks about her being povo.
You heard the rumours about Sarah? Heard you moved house? It's just a povo. She can't even afford an avo sandwich. Her boyfriend totally dumped her as well.
Sarah, once the top student in science, has now begun failing. Her old science teacher has left the school and has been replaced by a teacher she has no rapport with.
Hello Year 10 Science class, this will be your new teacher, Mr. G.
How you going? My name is Mr. G.
Where's Mr. Palmer gone? Well, Sarah, Mr. Palmer has left for the year, so you guys have Mr. G.
If she's not skipping class, she sits at her desk, completely disengaged, with no school supplies, and looks out the window.
Sarah, this needs to stop. You need to bring, everyone else has got their supplies. You need to bring yours too, okay?
An underlying concern from all these issues is Sarah displaying signs of loneliness. a precursor to more troubling mental health concerns such as depression and anxiety. A low socioeconomic status student is one who suffers disadvantage due to the lack of resources, social support, and economic capital. Low SES students generally reside in low SES areas, with the majority living in these areas suffering from the same conditions. Being classified as low SES entails an increased probability of increased truancy, negative attitudes towards school, increased responsibilities at home, reduced contact between parents and the children, and they're more likely to engage in problematic classroom behaviour. Despite the negative picture Constantine and Zapala paint in their paper, these effects are just generalised. As seen, Sarah's home life has been fairly tumultuous. They have been arguing over money and don't have much time for Sarah. Barr and Pendergast found that children can perceive rejection from their parents if the home life is dysfunctional. This rejection can manifest as loneliness. These feelings of rejection and loneliness can be exacerbated by bullying as a result of her low SES. In a physical activity setting, Casey, Mooney, Smith and Payne 2015 found that girls are more likely to bully those who are not considered part of the in group. The homogenising behaviour of cliques is more prevalent in a physical activity setting, and this research found that this is due to girls feeling more open to criticism during physical activity, as they are on display for everyone to see. The study reports that students believe individual members of the clique are fine when they're by themselves and they don't bully any students, whereas when these same students are with their clique group, the negative bullying occurs. Limitations of this study revolve around the narrow scope which only focuses on a PE context and not a whole school environment. Only a few schools were analysed and these effects may not be prevalent in other schools.
Student-teacher relationships are an integral part of a student's schooling life. There are several research papers that place a positive student-teacher relationship at the forefront of academic success and therefore creating a more enjoyable schooling life. In Sarah's case, she had a great relationship with her previous science teacher and hasn't been able to have that same relationship with her current teacher, resulting in poor results and lack of engagement in classroom activities.
Examples of positive relationships include rapport building, engaging activities in which all students are happy to participate in. Therefore, students follow instructions and stay on task, and overall, an increase in academic success. Negative impacts can include the lack of participation in learning activities, consequently creating minimal enjoyment for the student, resulting in poor results and attendance. Past experience with teachers can create negative relationships between current teachers.
The term loneliness refers to the feeling in which one's relationships do not meet their psychosocial needs and expectations. Therefore, individuals may feel lonely even when they are surrounded by others. When someone is feeling lonely, the brain is much more receptive and alert to social signals. Consequently, these individuals can develop a set of behaviours and beliefs that can have a negative impact on their day-to-day lives. These types of behaviours include the individual may feel ashamed and embarrassed of themselves. They may continuously feel criticised and judged by both themselves and others. They may believe they have little to share with other people, which can lead to that they may feel as if they cannot trust anyone.
Unfortunately, adolescents can behave in ways and commit to beliefs that keep loneliness in their lives. They may become withdrawn and believe that no one understands them, which can negatively impact their academic aspirations. Evidence shows that for those who regularly report feelings of loneliness, there can be repercussions that damage the individual's health and well-being. Concerning Sarah, specific tribulations that arise from loneliness include depression, suicidal thoughts, drug abuse, violence, criminal activity, and heightened senses of anger and anxiety. Additionally, as the literature suggests, loneliness is difficult to diagnose because the symptoms may not be readily visible to others. Therefore, the severity may be misinterpreted.
Poverty is not a learning disability. Equalizing Opportunities for Low SES Students is a book by Tish Howard, Sandy Dresser, and Dennis Dunkley. It addresses many of the issues that students in low SES environments face in the daily struggle of school and the learning journey that everybody goes on. In this case, many students of low SES backgrounds are placed in learning support and disability classes. The issue is they are not receiving the support they require. Students spend only 15% of their lives in school and in the classroom. As a result, the child needs a strong and supporting family to assist them through this time, helping them to build cognitive and emotional resilience. This is mostly achieved through support with homework and extracurricular activities like reading and watching movies. The next important link to improving outcomes for SES students is the school climate. If the school climate is not a warm, nurturing environment where everybody feels safe, the cognitive development of the child will remain stagnant at best. If the school's climate is negative, the development of the child will begin to regress, resulting in lower grades and decreased motivation, forming a vicious feedback cycle with a slow spiraling downfall into destruction of the child. To improve the school climate, the student could implement a school-wide PBIS program, improving overall school climate, school attitude, and school environment. The third way that the school could support low SES students like Sarah is that many schools and universities worldwide for these forms of students have a pool of iPads or laptops that they can borrow from. The students can loan these resources out from the school that they may not have access to because of being in a low SES environment, and it gives everybody the equity they deserve and an equality in learning and an equal footing in the playground of education in many ways, as it goes on to speak about the many opportunities schools can use to support students in low SES areas and outcomes. However, the primary issue it speaks about is a home life. Now, between home life and formative and summative assessment strategies, which are discussed in the book, it doesn't speak much about the assistance provided to a student of low SES background, mostly how we can change classroom worksheets to support them, which, without having the resources to do these worksheets, is still disadvantaging the students. I just think it's not thought through in the implications of carrying out the processes recommended in the article. In a paper titled Banish the Bullying, a Whole School Approach, Dutton Ed talks about how Finland is falling behind on the levels of anti-bullying programs being run in school, as they're focusing on anti-bullying behavior itself and minimizing the risk of bullying, and they focus primarily on the bully-victim relationship. However, the Far East has decreasing numbers of bullying incidents as far as 60 to 80% across each school, as noted in their paper. It is believed and noted that these schools in the Far East are using whole school approaches, school-wide approaches, to attack the core beliefs of bullying students and the core belief behind the reason the students are being bullied. Now, the primary issue of this article is that it doesn't speak about how these programs are being run. Now, in 2012, the New South Wales Police Anti-Bullying Commission the New South Wales Anti-Bullying Task Force worked with a number of local schools in the Western Sydney area. They ran a program called Putlabuden to Bullying, where students would, across the whole school, be run through programs designed to put them in the shoes of the students being bullied, and would teach them what it feels like to be bullied. It would also give them strategies to not be non-responsive bystanders, and would help students minimize the risk of bullying. Now, these programs, as being run with the New South Wales Police Task Force for Anti-Bullying,
Keep going.
had noticed that within 1 week of the programs being run, schools were noticing 10 to 25% decreases in the amount of bullying incidences reported to higher executive in the school.
The Australian Professional Teaching Standards compiled a group of 7 standards that outline what teachers should know and do. Standard 1, Know Your Students and How They Learn, illustrates the importance of teachers having an understanding of each of their students. Sarah's current science teacher needs to make the effort to get to know Sarah in order to increase her participation in class activities. As previously mentioned, Sarah's grades were exceptionally high with her previous science teacher, in which she had a great relationship with. Does the teacher understand the different things she has going on in her life currently? Do they understand the type of activities that she enjoys? A change in teaching pedagogy could be a strategy used to improve student-teacher relationships. Poloni discusses student-teacher relationships and enhancing teacher effectiveness in order to connect with their lives personally and professionally.
School-based approaches are the preferred route to assist students suffering from loneliness because it does not single out, label, or stigmatise individuals as being lonely. An example school-based approach is the implementation of social and emotional learning, which is used to develop not only the students' academic abilities, but also to support them in becoming responsible, caring, and contributing citizens. Moreover, social and emotional learning involves students having opportunities to learn and practice social skills such as cooperation, managing conflict, making friends, coping, being resilient, and recognising and managing their feelings. Programs of social and emotional learning use an evidence-based approach that can be taught explicitly in the classroom. Concerning Sarah's school, they could encourage all their students to construct a Getting to Know Me book. Moreover, this activity will help students identify and recognise their emotions and their origins and practice the language of social and emotional awareness. Another in-class strategy would be encouraging students to consider the social and emotional well-being of others through the concepts of checking on others in school. This activity allows students to practice responses to realistic scenarios using role plays or story writing as an opportunity to discuss, debate, and negotiate a classroom agreement as to the right decision in supporting the mental health and well-being of others. However, the limitations of these programs and strategies could arise if the students become disengaged or do not understand the importance of the activities.
Hopefully, with the implementation of the strategies listed here, Sarah can live her lifelong goal of becoming a physio.